Hello, students. I'm back again with the part 2 of the chapter that is tertiary and quaternary activities. So, in the previous video, we learned about the topic tertiary activities and we covered the topic of trade and commerce. Today, we are going to start with transport and communication as a tertiary activity. So, let us start. Now, as you're able to see in your screen that there are various means of transportation, isn't it? So, first let us understand what is transport as a tertiary activity. Transport is a service or a facility by which people, materials, and manufactured goods are carried from one place to another place. Okay, see, transport का मतलब होता है it is a service or a system by which goods, services, as well as passengers can be carried from one place to another place. So, transportation भी tertiary activities का बहुत important हिस्सा है. Okay, it is a service. Now, see, transportation, it's very important for the economic growth of any country. How? Transportation is required if and only speedy and efficient means of transportation are available. अगर speedy and efficient means of transportation होगा तो transportation system help करता है in the production, distribution and consumption of goods. Okay, so remember, if the transportation is easily available, it's so easy for the process of production, distribution, and consumption. Like in the ancient period when there was no means of transportation, okay, the means of transportation was very lengthy and very time consuming. But today, what has happened because of the development process, transportation means भी develop हो गए हैं जो कि इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ में एक्सेलरेशन का पार्ट प्ले कर रहे हैं. मतलब वो प्रोडक्शन में एक्सेलरेट कर रहे हैं, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एंड कंजम्पशन ऑफ गुड्स. Okay, remember that. That's why it's very important to have cheap and efficient means of transportation. Okay, now first let us have a look at different means of transportation. Okay, now see, transport. Now, transport are of various kinds, or there are different modes of transportation. These are rail network, road network, water, and air. Okay, so there are different means of transportation. Now, water as a means of transport are of two types. Again, these are inland and oceanic. All right, and again further, the oceanic can be divided into passenger services and cargo services. So remember these, अगर ये means of transportation अच्छे से developed हो जाएंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं of course कहीं ना कहीं economic growth में ये largely contribute करते हैं. Okay, now see, now let us come to the next section. Your transport distance is measured by three ways or three forms. मतलब हम transportation distance को three form में measure कर सकते हैं. First is in kilometer distance. Okay, कितना किलोमीटर एक transport cover कर सकता है. Second is your time distance. Time distance means time taken to travel on a particular mode. मतलब कोई भी मोड ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन से तुम जा रहे हो, कितना टाइम लग रहा है उस ट्रांसपोर्टेशन रूट यूज़ करने में, उसको हम लोग टाइम डिस्टेंस बोलते हैं. ठीक है. देन नंबर 3 इज़ योर कॉस्ट डिस्टेंस. सो योर ट्रांसपोर्ट डिस्टेंस कैन ऑल्सो बी मेजर्ड थ्रू योर कॉस्ट डिस्टेंस. मतलब कितना कॉस्ट लग रहा है उस रूट पे ट्रैवल करने के लिए. ओके, नाउ रिमेंबर स्टूडेंट्स, there are certain geographical lines which are drawn on a map that join places having equal in terms of time taken to reach them. Okay, these lines are known as isochron lines. Okay, so these are imaginary lines that are drawn on a map to join places which can be traveled in same amount of time. Okay, so after this transportation, which is measured in three forms, now you need to be very particular about these terms, that is transport network, node and link. Okay, firstly I'll read out the definitions. ट्रांसपोर्ट नेटवर्क क्या होता है? ट्रांसपोर्ट नेटवर्क होता है जब डिफरेंट प्लेसेस को लिंक कर देना, उसको हम लोग एज अ होल नेटवर्क बोलते हैं थ्रू डिफरेंट मोड्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. ठीक है. नाउ अ ट्रांसपोर्ट नेटवर्क इज मेड अप ऑफ नोड्स एंड लिंक. What is a node? A node is the meeting point of two or more roads, a point of origin, a point of destination, or any sizable town along a route. ओके मतलब नोड क्या है? वो मीटिंग पॉइंट, दो रास्तों का, दो ट्रांसपोर्ट रूट का मीटिंग पॉइंट को हम लोग नोड बोलते हैं. ठीक है. एंड लिंक क्या है? एवरी रोड दैट जॉइंस टू नोड्स इज कॉल्ड अ लिंक. मतलब एवरी रोड जो दो नोड को कनेक्ट करता है उसको हम लिंक बोलते हैं. ठीक है. एंड इस एंटायर सिस्टम को क्या बोला जाता है? ट्रांसपोर्ट नेटवर्क. Now let me help you all understand with the following diagram. See, very simple. Can you see the nodes? These are nodes, are also known as vertices. Okay. And the edges or links, these are the roots which connects the nodes. So these are known as your edges or links. All right. Okay. So I hope you all are clear. Now see, node. As I told you, node is the meeting point of two roots, isn't it? This one. See, this one, and this is the node. Okay. Similarly, we have these two roots and it is connected by this nodes. Okay. Similarly, we have these two roots and this is connected by two nodes. So you can say node is the meeting point of two roads. Okay. It's the meeting point of two roads, and the route which is connecting the node is known as a edge or a link. So it's this entire system is known as your transport network. Okay. Okay, so I hope you all understand what is transport. ट्रांसपोर्ट क्यों ज़रूरी होता है एंड ये कैसा सर्विस देता है, ट्रांसपोर्ट डिस्टेंस कैसे मेजर किया जाता है, एंड व्हाट इज़ अ ट्रांसपोर्ट नेटवर्क, नोड एंड अ लिंक. एंड ऑल्सो रिमेंबर व्हाट आर आइसोक्रोन लाइन्स. नाउ विल कम टू द नेक्स्ट सब टॉपिक, फैक्टर्स अफेक्टिंग ट्रांसपोर्ट. ठीक है. फैक्टर्स अफेक्टिंग ट्रांसपोर्ट मतलब ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एज अ सर्विस इफेक्ट होता है बहुत सारे रीजंस की वजह से. नाउ दीज आर बेसिकली बिकॉज ऑफ टू इम्पॉर्टेंट फैक्टर्स. These are demand and routes. Okay. Number one, let's see demand. Now, demand for transport is affected by the size of population. The larger the population size, the greater is the demand for transport. मतलब transportation demand कब होगा? जब पॉपुलेशन के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा. अगर ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन है तो उस ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन को डिफरेंट मोड्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन चाहिए ट्रैवल करने के लिए. तो इस तरह से क्या होगा? डिमांड बढ़ेगा एंड डायरेक्टली ट्रांसपोर्टेशन रूट्स भी बढ़ेंगे. मतलब डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन रूट्स भी डेवलप हो जाएंगे जिस तरह से डिमांड बढ़ेगा. ओके. सो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन रूट डेवलप होने के लिए डिमांड बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. अगर डिमांड नहीं है तो देयर विल बी नो डेवलपमेंट इन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन लाइक इन द एंशिएंट पीरियड. ओके. सिमिलरली एज डेवलपमेंट स्टार्टेड, demand increased, people started traveling. Okay. New industries got established. As I told you, transportation is very much required for economic development. So अगर transportation route नहीं होंगे तो एक इंडस्ट्री को एक मार्केट से कैसे कनेक्ट करेंगे? ट्रांसपोर्टेशन से. सो इस तरह से डिमांड बढ़ेगा एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एज अ सर्विस भी ज़्यादा ग्रो करेगा. नंबर टू, रूट्स. Now, routes depend on location of cities, towns, villages, industrial centers and raw materials, pattern of trade between them, nature of the landscape between them, type of climate and funds available for overcoming obstacles along the length of the route. In very simple, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन रूट्स होते हैं ना, वो डिपेंड करते हैं कि कौन सा सिटी कहाँ लोकेटेड है, कौन सा टाउन, कौन सा विलेज कहाँ लोकेटेड है, इंडस्ट्रियल सेंटर्स कहाँ लोकेटेड है, रॉ मटेरियल्स कैसा है, उस एरिया में ट्रेड कैसा हो रहा है, वहाँ का लैंडस्केप कैसा है, क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशंस कैसा है, एंड फंड्स अवेलेबल है कि नहीं ताकि वहाँ पे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन रूट बनाया जा सके. Okay. Now see, I'll just give you one simple example. Now, it's mostly difficult to construct a transportation route in the mountainous area. Why? It's because of the nature of the landscape. Okay. Because of the rugged topography. Okay. Because of the mountainous area, it's difficult to construct your super expressways in your mountainous area. Okay. Now, similarly, the type of climate also influence the routes. जिस तरह का क्लाइमेट होगा उस तरह से ही रूट्स डेवलप होंगे. ठीक है. एंड जैसे कि let's take the example of location of cities. Big industrial cities or big metropolitan cities like Delhi, Mumbai, they have efficient means of transportation routes. Okay. They have roadways, they have expressways. Okay. Like take example of Mumbai, they have your sea transportation, air transportation. It depends कहाँ कौन चीज़ कितना important है, कितना कहाँ पे located है. Okay. Now, in some of the areas of the world, okay, जहाँ पे एकदम remote areas में efficient means of routes develop नहीं हुए. क्यों? क्योंकि उसके location की वजह से, funds के वजह से, बहुत सारे factors हैं जो transportation को affect करते हैं. Okay, so I hope you all understood how is or what are the factors affecting your transport services. Okay, so this was all about transport as a means of service. We will move on to the next kind of tertiary activity, that is your communication. Okay, now first understand what is communication. Communication as a service means it's the transmission of words, messages, facts and ideas. Means you're transmitting some kind of words, messages, facts and ideas. You're communicating with someone. What are you doing? You are communicating your ideas, your opinions. Similarly, communication can be done through words and messages. All right, now in the initial time when there was less means of development, I told you all what was happening. Now today, if you want to communicate to your friend, you can easily communicate using your cell phones. That is also a means of communication. But in your previous time, people used to write letters and then post it, and it used to take a long period of time. Okay, so, and even before that, communication was done by your, usually somebody used to go and travel by your animals and etc. Okay, now आफ्टर द इन्वेंशन ऑफ राइटिंग, जब राइटिंग का इन्वेंशन हुआ तब क्या हुआ, कम्युनिकेशन बेटर होने लगा. ओके, इट वॉज ईजी to communicate through various means of transportation. So remember, transportation and communication is very very much related today. Okay, मतलब अगर efficient means of transportation होता होगा तो communication भी better हो सकता है. Okay, now see, क्योंकि ऑल फॉर्म्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन लाइन से ही होता है. ठीक है, तो दोनों रिलेटेड है, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड कम्युनिकेशन. ओके, नाउ सी, टुडे देयर इज लॉट ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. आज ट्रांसपोर्टेशन रूट्स जैसे कि लेट्स से एयर, वाटर, व्हाटएवर, इससे भी बढ़कर कम्युनिकेशन ईजिली अवेलेबल हो जाता है एट द टिप ऑफ योर हैंड. Okay, through mobile communications or through satellite communications, we are trying to convey something. Okay, now see, communication is generally through three types. These are means of transportation, telecommunication and audio visual. Okay, now we'll just discuss this first. Okay, now see, communication are of various types. Communication are of various types. First, as I told you, means of transportation through air, water, etc. Now, some of the important communication services that can be described under service section is telecommunication and audiovisual. Okay, telecommunication can be divided into telephone can be done through landline and mobile, and audiovisual is through your films, radios, TV, print media, and print media has further been divided into newspapers and magazines. Okay, so let us discuss each of this in detail. Okay, first let us start with telecommunication. Telecommunication as a communication services, it's linked with modern technology. Okay, मतलब जो मैसेज हम 10 दिन लगता था वो मिनट, इनफैक्ट सेकेंड्स में हम लोग किसी के थ्रू कन्वे कर सकते हैं. दैट्स थ्रू योर टेक्नोलॉजी. बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल्स आर योर मोबाइल फोन्स. Okay, isn't it? Or the internet connections that you have. You want to communicate anything, you don't have to wait for a long period of time. It's very instantaneous and it can be conveyed across the world. Okay, so telecommunication as a service is one of the most revolution बोल सकते हो in the field of technology. ठीक है, now earlier फैक्स एंड टेलीग्राफ भेजा जाता था. आज इट्स जस्ट एन ईमेल एंड द service or the message is communicated to the next person. Okay, now next is your radio and television. Radio and television will help us to get what? News. You want to watch a picture or you want to communicate to the other person, it can easily be done through the radio. And television will help us connect through the entire world by giving us all sorts of information. Okay, so radio television को इसीलिए हम लोग mass media भी बोलते हैं. Okay, it's referred to as mass media. Radio and televisions are referred to as the mass media. Why? Because they are very important for entertaining as well as advertising. Okay, next form of your communication service are your newspapers. Now, newspapers, everybody is well acquainted with newspapers because everybody reads it, and newspapers gives us news from every hook and corner of the world. All right. Okay. Now, satellite communication relays information of the earth and from space. The internet has truly revolutionized the global communication system. Okay, so next is your satellite communication. Now, satellites, everything that we are using today, the digital media jitne bhi hum use kar rahe, either it be TV or mobile phones or your PCs, these are all connected through your satellites, and it's the satellites which collects information about the earth and space, and thereby we are able to use the internet as a facility. Okay, so today, एज आई टोल्ड यू, कम्युनिकेशन एज अ सर्विस क्या होता है, बहुत ज़्यादा मॉडर्नाइज्ड हो चुका है, टेक्नोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट आ चुका है इस फील्ड में. ठीक है, वी आर नो लॉन्गर इन द फेज वेयर communication was difficult. Okay, now this is the picture. These are different means of communication which we already talked about, like television, video cassette, radio, telephone, mobiles, pager, walkie talkie, DVD, microphone, film projector, site projector, fax, video camera, computer, newspaper, magazines, satellites. Okay, a signal road, traffic, post and telegraph. Okay, so these are the means of communication. And जो modern means of communication है वो already हमने देखा, telecommunications है ना, and satellite communication जिसको हम लोग modern means of communication बोलते हैं. In fact, also television is also a means of modern means of communication. Okay,